I'm back here today to talk about. Let's restart this again. Hi guys, welcome back to my page. I'm back home, no technical issues, inshallah. I don't know why, I always feel anxious recording, but anyways, let's start again. Hi, my name is Samaya and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I talk about part 5 today, which is a continuation of chapter 4 of my abuse that I endured in America, and how I had to run away for my life and escape. Anyways, let's get into it. So I finished off in part 4 where I literally went back. So let me explain a bit more. Let me go into a bit more details. I think my windows are open. Let me close my windows. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. I live in London. There's police about all the time. Such a high crime city that I live in. Anyways, so I just wanted to delve into a little bit more of how I was feeling, the circumstances, what was going on, and why I had to go back. So at the time, there was a restraining order going on, and I was in the city due to having to Alhamdulillah. Oh God. God damn. Somebody must be talking about me somewhere in the world. She. Anyways. Let's get back to it. So at the time I was staying at my grandma's house. My mom's cousins, so somehow related. And at the time they had given out my address to the family, so he found out where I lived and he kept harassing me at that time. So why I was in Ohio and I wasn't able to go back to Minnesota at the time was my uncle was working. He had a family of his own to deal with, and there were young kids, and at the same time that was going on, I needed to stay in Ohio to deal with the criminal case, because also, although that I had a protection order, the protection order was only temporary, so I needed to go through with the criminal case for the protection order to kind of, become long term. But because of him finding me and him also like threatening me and also apologizing, and he also threatened to try to unalive himself, in terms of like saying, oh, you've left me, you've put me in a situation, I'm just gonna have to off myself because I don't feel like living, blah blah blah. So that's how he kind of like tricked me coming back into going back to him, because at the time I didn't know any better. He kept finding me, he was harassing me. At the same time, my family was also they were supporting me, but they weren't really supporting me at that point, if that makes sense. They're all the way in the UK. I'm kind of feeling isolated. My cousins in the city weren't keeping in touch, and they were just, I don't know, it was just a bit much going on. So I just felt really vulnerable at the time. So I didn't really have anybody but him, and he just kept saying, oh, I apologize, I won't do that again, I'll never hear you, I'll offer myself if you don't come back, you need to come back, Samaya. So it was just like a lot of begging, pleading, and a lot of stuff. So I ended up going back, falling for his tricks. And honestly, during the time frame that I was with him, there was a restraining order out, a protection order, so I was not allowed to be around him. So during that time, he was on his best behavior, so he didn't do anything at that time. Okay guys, also I kind of forgot to mention, if we can rewind, so during this time, this is June of 2013, so if I can rewind back to September of 2012, and this is roughly when we got married, a few months, and this is like, I think, the same month that we're applying for the green card visa and stuff. So during that month there, it was his birthday. So his birthday sometime September 27th, if I'm not mistaken, 1991. So he was turning 21 in 2012. So during that time frame, I had a little bit of money saved up, and basically he kept pushing and insinuating, and he kept taking us to like I don't think pawn shops were, I think they were called, to look at guns. Like he wanted to buy himself a gun, basically, and he was coming up on his 21st birthday, so he was now able to legally buy a gun. So that's what he was doing. So during the time frame, I thought, because it was his birthday, let me be kind and let me be nice and get him a birthday present for his 21st. And since he's been taking us to pawn shops, let me buy him his first gun, and which was roughly, I think the money was about 300 and something dollars, if I'm not mistaken. I coughed that up, honestly, and I bought that for, like, I paid the money for him to get his gun. Honestly, I didn't know at the time that I was buying that gun that it would be used against me at some point. But anyways, let's carry on. Fast forward now in June and stuff. So during this time frame, I'm back at his house. The restraining order has now gone. The criminal case, I genuinely kind of forgot about it. I literally forgot. I didn't really like. It was at the back of my mind, if that makes sense. All I knew about was the restraining order. Once that kind of finished, he kind of returned back into his old self, where he started pushing me, shoving me, slapping me, just like getting really volatile with me. And at the time, during this time frame, I was working, and he had my bank card, and I never really had access to any of the funds that I was working. So, and at some point he did end up giving that bank card to his mom. And I'm not gonna lie, during this time frame, so this is like July, August, September, say for example, all throughout this time frame, it is really horrible in the house. I'm tiptoeing. It was so bad. Let me just say, I just want to talk about the experiences that I had that had happened during that summer. So there was an incident where at some point he had pulled out the gun, and he pulled the gun to my head and pulled the trigger, and I heard the click go off, and honestly I thought my life had gone at that point. But alhamdulillah, there was no bullets in it, so it just clicked and nothing came out. And in that moment he said, see, like, I could have killed you right now, and I could, like, literally cut up your body and dump you in the woods. And there was like a forest behind where we lived at the point, and he was like, I could dump you in the forest and no one would ever find you, and I could go report you to the police missing. And this was during the time frame that I kept running away from the home, because I didn't feel safe enough to stay. So every time I would try to run away, I would cocked up a plan. The first time that I did try to run away was I ran, and all I had on me was my phone, my clothes, some trainers and stuff. And I ran away, and I remember I had ran away. There was a gas station near where we lived, and I ran to the gas station, and opposite the gas station was like a apartment complex. And you know how, like, there was like a sign of what the name of the complex is, and there was like some bushes, and it was like a little brick. So I went running and hid in there, and I called up his sister, and I said to her, and I called up his oldest sister, and I said to her, hey, he's beating on me, and I don't feel comfortable staying in the house, and he's been threatening me a lot. Can you please come pick me up? Honestly, at this point I thought I would, like, she would help me out in the situation, maybe take me back to her house, like, help me out, like, get me in contact with my family. Because at this point, because I had went back, my family had stopped getting in contact with me and started cussing me out for going back to my abuser and not staying. But what they didn't know at the time was that he was threatening me, and he kept finding me. So for me, I just felt like I can't really survive this if I stay away. And he kept threatening my family, my uncles, anybody who would come and help me. He would threaten to say he would off them, and he would do all of these crazy things to them, and he would also do this to me. And because this was his territory, and I felt really isolated, and I didn't feel like I had people behind me to support me or to stand up for me, I was just like, I'm just a girl, what am I gonna do? I'm just a girl. I'm joking, but guys, it's crazy, do you know what I mean? So at the time I was going through all of this, plus I'm vulnerable, plus my mental health is going down the drain. It was very hectic. I remember there was another incident where Everything was just going crazy. I tried to off myself by taking some paracetamol, and we're shouting and screaming at this point, having a whole fight, and he's pushing me into the shower to put water all over me to keep me awake. At this point, police come knocking on the door, and the police say that the neighbors have called because there's a commotion going on. And this was like a weekly occurrence where police would be called to residents because there would be a fight or an argument or something going on. But the police really couldn't do anything because I don't know why they couldn't help me out, but I think I needed to speak up. But I was really scared of speaking up because he always used to threaten me, and he always used to do other things. So I just felt like I wasn't able to. And at the time all of this is going on, I still don't have access to my passport. Remember how I told you in June, or when the incident happened where he beat the brakes off of me? Yeah, he took my passport and he never returned it, and we're now in August, and I'm here stuck in the house with no passport. I can't escape. I don't feel safe in America. I don't feel safe. I don't have nobody to go to, and each place that I go he keeps finding me. So I just found it really scary, and his family were working with him, so each time that I would go to them and ask them help, they would just drag me back to him. So I was just like, as I was saying, I didn't even know, I forgot, like I jumped when I was at the when I went running away the first time. I went to the gas station and I called his sister, and his sister came to the gas station, and yeah, she called him and she gave me back to him. I thought she was gonna help me, but no, she called him 10 minutes later. He's there to pick me up, and he's now taking me home, shouting at me, screaming at me, calling me names, demeaning, putting hands on me. Honestly, I was living in terror, and I had to just be like, you know what? You've taken my passport. I need my passport. I need my passport. And he kept not wanting to give me my passport. Anyways, during this time, so after all of this happens, now we're what, September kicks in, and I've now, like, I'm working at a warehouse at this point. I've developed some friendships at work. I'm trying to find out, that's the only escape that I have. And he's now kicking up a fuss because I have made male friends in the workplace. Like, the only work friends, it was just mad. Like, I'm working at a warehouse, like, do you want me to be not talking to nobody? I just didn't understand it. So he was just really mad, like, about all the type of friends I had, female, males. It was just really not on it. If he wasn't benefiting anything out of it, it was just like, what the hell? You can't speak to no man. You can't do this. You can't do that. It was just like a lot of you can't, just being a whole control freak. And at these times that I'm working, I still don't have access to funds, so I'm just working while he has access to everything. So yeah, that's a bit mad. Anyways, so all of that is going on, and at some point I get sick and tired of what's going on. I run away now. I get to my grandma's house, and I come to my grandma's house. At this point I'm at my wits, and this is some point in September. So I'm at my wits, and I'm just like, listen, I want my passport back. Like, if you want, like, and I called him up, I called up his sister. Wait, I ran away from the home, so he called up his sister to let her know, hey, Smee has run away again. Can you please call her and like make talk sense into her because she keeps running away? So she calls me up this time around, and I say to her, listen, if you want me back in that house, there's only one way I'll get back into the house, and that's if I get my passport, because you guys have been holding onto my passport, and I feel like a hostage at this point, because where can I go without my passport? Nowhere. And at this point I'm thinking in my head, about a year and a half ago I ran away, and the British embassy helped me from Africa, from Somalia. Do you think if I go to run to the British embassy here in America, they're gonna help me and send me back home? I just felt like they wouldn't help me. Do you know what it is? Because I just felt like a problem child. Everywhere I go, problem follows me. So I just was like to myself, I need to figure this one out. So now I'm calling him. I called his sister speaking to me, telling me, yeah, okay, is that what all you want? I said, that's all I want. I just want my passport back. That's all I want. I don't want anything else. He can have the gold, he can have everything else. I just want my passport back. Like, can he not give me that? And all of the, because it's in a suitcase, like everything, all of the my documents, the American documents, my GED, my gold, all of that, it was in this black safe that he keeps in the house. So at this point, so I'm just like, I just want, I don't, he can keep all of that, he can keep the gold, he can keep the other documents, I just want my passport, that's all I want. So his sister negotiated, talked to him and said, okay, cool. So they were like, come back to the house and we'll give it to you. So I didn't feel comfortable going back to the house, because how many times have they've locked me in the house, they've dragged me back into the house. I just didn't feel safe in there. So I said to them, listen, I'll meet you lot in the parking lot of somewhere in Northside. I think it was in, like, I don't know, it was in Columbus. You know where the Somali Mall is? It was very close to where the Somali Mall is in the north side, if I'm not mistaken. Anyways, now while this is going on, I was just like, okay. So then so I called up my cousin at this point. So my cousin has been yeah, he's the only one that has kind of kept in contact with me ever since I moved to America, and he lived in the city. So he would always like give me a call, say, how you doing, send me a birthday message, keep in contact, Jamal Mubarak, just like cousinly things he would do. And each time this cousin would keep contact me and say, like, there was one incident, he messaged me on my birthday right after 12 o'clock or something. And I remember me and this guy we were out getting food at like McDonald's. We were in the drive-through, we had literally just paid, and the text message comes through, ding. And then I literally pick it up to see, I was like, oh, my cousin just sent me happy birthday, how nice is that, he remembered that it's my birthday. And this guy just went off on me to say, why would your cousin message you, why da da da, oh my god, your cousin are you cheating on me with this man, how dare you, you're cheating, this, that, and the third. And it just went from like a innocent happy birthday to you're cheating on me. Like, I got accused of cheating. And I'm thinking to myself, this is my first cousin, like he saw me as a baby, I don't understand what you mean. Anyways, fast forward now. So I call up that same cousin and I say to him, hey, this is what the issue is. Basically, I need you to, basically, the man, I ran away from the home, I'm at my yaya's house, I'm at my grandma's house. I need you to come with me to go get my passport in a parking lot, so and so. So he was like, all right, cool. So he came pick me up and we went. And these times, that timing is like what, 10-11 o'clock in the night. So it's pitch black, dark, everything is scarce, no cars. And we pull up, it's like literally a movie scene. We pull up into me and him pull up into the car park, and I'm kind of nervous. It's moving a little bit mad because I'm just deep in it. It's a car park. We come into the car park, we park on one side, and then we see that they come into the car park and they're parked up on the other side. So we're like opposite each other from other sides. And basically we all kind of open doors. He opened, like, their car opens, him and his sister come out of the car, and he's standing at the door of the car. And then me and my cousin come out of the car, and we're standing at the door of the car. And the first thing the guy does is he pulls out a gun and he holds it like this, literally on the car, like using the car as like an armor, and he's like literally in between the car and the door, if that makes sense, like this with the gun. And my cousin, I didn't even know, was strapped as well, and he literally pulled out his gun and he literally kind of aimed at the guy too. As soon as like him and his sister saw that this guy was aimed, she started shouting at him, telling him, put the gun down, put the gun down. What do you mean, put it down, put it down? So once he put it down, my cousin kind of put it down too, but he kind of kept it a little bit just in case, but kind of lowered it from not aiming at him. And so basically we decided, his sister decided, hey, let's talk on the side. So she pulled me to the side, and then she started talking to me, trying to guilt me to say, oh my god, look at the situation that you've kind of made, Samaya, look at the guns, oh my god, I never thought it would come to this, how can you, blah blah blah. And I just was like, I don't know why you're trying to like talk to me like this. Your brother has done so much more stuff than I've ever done to him. I've never put hands on him, I've never done anything. Yeah, but she was like, but you called the police on him, you put him on Hapsi, he now has a criminal case, he's got his record is messed up, blah blah blah. And I was just like, that's all of his things. For me, like, at the end of the day, all of these consequences would not have happened had you guys given me my documents from the beginning, and all of this has happened because I just want my passport. We spoke to your mother, and that's when the first time I'm telling her, hey, we've spoken to your mother before we decided to press charges on your brother, and that we said to her, hey, can we get the documents back? We don't want to press no charges. We don't want anything. We just want Sumayya's documents, her passport, just so that she can leave. Sumayya's passport, Sumayya's gold, and Sumayya's stuff. That's all we want. Everything else, we can leave it and we can move past it. And they said, and your mom said no, and she was just kind of shocked once she kind of heard that, and that like that her mom kind of had like a hand in her brother getting like a criminal record. She kind of felt, oh my god. So she went back to her brother. I don't know, they had a little conversation, 5-minute conversation. I went back to my cousin at this point, and me and my cousin are sat in the car thinking, what the hell, are they gonna give it, are they gonna give it, I don't know, is it gonna think? And my cousin's like fully backing it, so Sumayya, we're not leaving here tonight without your passport. You need to get your fucking passport, you get it? So anyways, at this point, 5 minutes later, I was sat there anxiously, just jittery. My cousin's got the gun there, just ready if anything goes left. And 5 minutes later, she comes by and she literally just says, here's your passport. Are you now gonna come home with your husband right now? I said, no, right now I need to go back. My stuff is still at Yaya's house, so tomorrow I'll come by the house. And then they were like, no, you need to come now. I was like, no, do you guys not trust me? Like, what else? Like, what do you mean? And it wasn't even a trust situation. They had my location. So one thing I didn't understand, like, on how he kept finding me was, and I'm now just realizing later on in life, is that and I've always wondered, and I kind of figured out once I had left the America and I kind of stepped out of it and I kind of had time to reflect and understand, he was paying the bills for our phone, from my phone, his phone, so he could see all of the text messages I was sending, all of the phone calls I was taking, and also my location. So every time he needed something, he would call up, figure it out, and then see where I called, who I did, do a bit of investigation and find me. So that's something I never really understood at the time, and I just kept saying, he keeps finding me, oh my god, somebody's like, I just didn't understand. I was so paranoid at some point, but that's something I figured out. So that's why, like, it was just a bit of a mess. But yeah, anyways, I need to pause. So once I got my passport, I said to them, I'm not gonna stay, I'm gonna go back to Yaya's house, I'm gonna go back to my grandma's house. So I was like, what, do you not trust me? Either way, you know where Yaya lives, tomorrow you can come pick me up from her house. So I went back to Yaya's house, my grandma's house, and my cousin left me there, and I got my passport back. So the next morning he comes, picks me up from grandma's house, and I go back, like, after work. He finishes work, he picks me up from grandma's house, and we go back to our house. And I was there for, I think, another 3 weeks. Things were going a bit hectic, but it was really hectic. Honestly, I was just firming it, to be honest. I was just trying to figure out my next escape plan, because this time around I have my passport. This time around I now figure out, if I'm leaving, I need to leave the city, because I don't trust staying in the city anymore, because he kept finding me every time I tried to leave. So now this is now October 7th or 5th. I think it was October 5th. I'm gonna put the dates on somewhere here and I'll let you guys know. So sometime in October 2013, that was the first time he had a double shift back to back, 18 hours, 8 hours and 8 hours. That was what, 16 hours. So he was going to be gone for 16 hours doing work. So that was the first time that he had left, and like that long of a time frame between. Usually he would leave for 8 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours, and that was that. And this was so in this time frame, in 16 hours, I had crunch time. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I had planned, he told me, hey, 2 days from, like, tomorrow I'm doing double shift, so I'm not going to be back for a while. Are you okay? He was checking in on me, saying, what do you need, just trying to be overall controlling, I guess. I don't know. And he was just trying to see if I was going to run away or something. I don't know. I feel like he had a feeling, but I kind of played it smooth. I said, I'm good, I'm okay, I'll be busy, I've got work myself, whatnot. So I just gave him excuses as, like, why I would be busy. Anyways, now he goes to work first thing in the morning, and I tend to go work after him. So now Well, he's gone to work. Um, Basically, as soon as he left, I called my mom. Like, as soon as he left for work, I think I literally just watched him. He closed the door. I watched him get into the car, drive off. Once he drove off, and I made sure for like 5-10 minutes, I called my mom and I said to my mom, hey, and this is the first time I'm contacting her since June. So what's that, like for another 4 months since I spoke to her. Now I've called her up and I've said to her, and it's like in the middle of the night, and I've said to her, Mom, listen, I need to run. I need to get out of here now. Crunch time. He just left for work right now, 10-20 minutes ago, and he's gonna be gone for the next 16 hours. I need to get the hell out of here today, Hoyo. If I don't do this today, I don't know how I'm gonna do it. So my mom, by this point, didn't trust my dad's side of the family or anything like that. So then what does she do? She called up her childhood friend from her hometown in Somalia, called up her childhood friend that lives in Canada, Toronto, and she said to her, hey, my daughter is in Columbus, Ohio. Do you know anybody that lives in Columbus, Ohio that can help her right now? She needs to get out of a situation and she's being beat. And the husband is very controlling, abusive. So my aunt then said, I don't know her, but she really knows me and she loves me off. But anyways, she was like, I know somebody, and basically the auntie then helped me. She basically knew of my mom's family and knew my mom's sisters and stuff from back in the day, back in the hometown. So once she heard about it, she was like, okay, we're gonna find out her address. So my mom was my hubby was like my aunt was figuring that out and figuring out the address and sending it to my mom. My mom also called my uncle that lives in Canada, like in Minnesota, and she called him up and she said, listen, Samay needs to get the hell out of there. What are we gonna do? She needs a cab to get to this house, so that she can get out of there, and then we need to book her a ticket to come to Minnesota, and we're gonna figure out she needs to just get out of the place right now. So what can we do? So my uncle booked a cab from the house to basically a cab from the house to auntie's house, and that's how I got out. I literally packed up some of my stuff, left majority of my things. I left my wedding dress, I left everything. All I took was one little bag, and it was a red bag. I think it's in my storage. I think I still have it till today, the bag that I ran away with 10 years ago. I literally brought that suitcase and I packed whatever I could, the essentials that I need. I got my gold at this point. I've got my documents. I've got my passport. So I literally just put all of that information, put it in my bag, packed it up, and while I was going, I kind of made a bit of a mess as well. So anyways, I just left, and that's how I escaped from the house. Now, what happened afterwards is basically once I had left, he came back to the house, couldn't find me. Once he couldn't find me and he came back from work, this is 16 hours after, and basically we're now back at the house. What happened is he calls the police. Once he couldn't find me at the house, he calls the police and reports me missing. And once he said that to them, the police then started researching and finding out what happened. And they found out then that my uncle had booked a cab service from my house to their auntie's house. At this point that they're finding out, and he had come back from work, is 2 a.m. because what he had left for 7, say from 7 to say 8 to what? 8 to 5, 5 to what? My math is shite, guys. So let's do it. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. So see, he was finishing 2 o'clock, okay? That's 8 hours done. And then what? He's starting another shift at what? 3. Okay, let's start that again. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Came back at 10 p.m. or something. Or a bit later. I think he started at 8 o'clock, 7. I started at 7. So let's say he finished like say midnight. So now I don't remember, like, I'll figure everything out, guys. It's just long for life to now to figure out. But I'll show you when he called up the police. It was literally nighttime when he called up the police, because I remember the police had come trying knocking on the door to look for me because they found me, to have a conversation. Wait, they called my uncle. So the police kind of traced back the cab to my uncle, and my uncle spoke to them and said to them, listen, she's running away from him because of the abuse that she endured and all of these stuff. So the police said basically, okay, cool, if that's the case, we're gonna arrest him because we found some, basically. And all of this time that this is happening, he's sat in the back of the police car, and we found something that looks like blood in the house, and we're gonna have to arrest him. So they arrested him overnight like that because of what my uncle told him. But they also came back to, basically they asked him to give him the address of where I'm staying so that they can do a safety check. So they came over to the house that I was staying at, the auntie's house. But because the whole family was asleep, because it was really midnight, we were tired, the adrenaline was kind of going the whole day, I was exhausted. It was like the first time I was feeling a bit safe, if that makes sense, because I felt like this is the first time he doesn't know where I am or anything, because I've kept everything hush hush. So I kind of slept my ass off. But we woke up to the morning from missed calls, knock on the door, neighbors coming to tell us, hey, police were at your door last night. Did you guys know? Why did you guys open up the door? All of these things. So we call up the police. The police ask us to come down to the station. We go down to the station. We make a report at this point at the police station. What we have is a restraining order. We got a protection order from that day that I reported it, for a week later. And then a week later there was going to be a court date where I would have to sit down in front of the court, speak about what happened, and then maybe have like a criminal case or like a permanent protection order in place against him. And then I was also trying to file for divorce, so I slap up the forms that I was filing out so that I can ask for a divorce, because I really wanted to just get away from him because of all of the abuse that I had endured. I just didn't feel safe around him, considering that he did multiple times threaten to off my life and also use a gun at some point. And also it was just a lot basically to deal with, alongside him physically being abusive, financially abusive. It's just a lot of different abuses that just simultaneously. Sorry. Anyways, so during all of that, that's what had happened. After I had filed the police report, filed the protection order, the first thing I did was I literally jumped on a Greyhound coach from Columbus, Ohio to Minnesota. I think St. Paul's, Minnesota. I don't know. So I have all of the information at the time still. They were like lodged into my emails, and I found them going through all of the information that I've had over the years. Anyway, so after all of that, once I got to Minnesota, he just kept threatening me, sending me message after message. It was just like, during all of this time as well, each time I did run away, and during the time that I was in Minnesota with my uncle, trying to back in June, he was hacking into my Facebook at the time, hacking into all of the social media accounts that I had. I had KIK at the time. I had a few other things at the time, and he would just kind of hack into them, try to change the password, speak to other friends that I had, comfort. Like, he was just very stalkerish behavior that I kept having to delete, block, change different handles throughout the whole time frame, and even after I left. But what I'm trying to say is, so once I got to Minnesota, he kept threatening me, and I just didn't feel safe enough to go back to Ohio to deal with the courts, the protection order, divorce. It just seemed a lot for me, and I really didn't have a support system, and I was just scared for my life, because he really did try to kill me a few times, and it was just a lot for me, mentally, physically, and everything, and I was exhausted at this point. So my only option was to run away, and that's what I did. So before I left, and I knew leaving would affect my courts, I did send a long email explaining why I didn't feel safe and why I had to leave the country. And I'll add that right here as well. I flew back, I think, the next day. So I sent the email off on the 12th of October, I think, and I think I flew out either on the 13th or the 14th. And yeah, and that's how I escaped from him. And honestly, the moment I touched down in the UK was a relief. I think the moment I touched down at London Heathrow Airport, I was absolutely relieved. Like, I just felt like, oh my God, I'm home, you know, alhamdulillah. And honestly, it was the same feeling that I had when I touched back home the first time round through when I came back from Somalia. So it was just like, oh my God, home. You know, England's always been my home. So it was just like another thing. I was like, alhamdulillah, I'm back. This is a picture of when I got back to my mom's house in Birmingham, and it's time stamped. And this is literally a few hours later where I went with the family to Eid prayer. So I got to spend Eid prayer with them first day back. That was lovely. You know, so that was that. I came back, and honestly, I spent the next few years just trying to forget. He has been stalking me ever since. I think the whole of 2014, he kept stalking me, where I had to eventually change all of my social media handles. It was Instagram, where he would make different accounts. So yeah. Anyways, before I finish on this topic, I thought let me quickly add on these screenshots of the conversation that I had with the girl he had cheated on me. So just to confirm that that's what happened at the time and I wasn't going crazy. I would like to also add why I'm sharing this story, okay? I am sharing this story because a few months ago, a girl reached out to me through TikTok, and she DM'd me to say, hey Sumaya, is your name Sumaya from 2013? You was married to so and so in Columbus, Ohio. And I was just baffed because that was a very long time ago and it was a specific time frame. And I was just like, yes, have I met you? And the first thing she did say was, okay, no. So once I did say, yes, that's me, I was like, but that's so weird because I was just thinking in my head, I've never really spoke about that time ever in my life. So who are you? So I said, have I met you? And then she also said, I'll slap up the conversation on here as well so you guys can see that I'm not chatting shit, okay? So she messaged out to say, hey, I'm glad you ran away, like you got away. And that kind of threw me back because as I've said, I've never spoke about my story. So I was just like, do I know you, sis? And she was like, no, unfortunately you don't know me, but I was married to him too, and he has done something similar to me as well. So I'm just glad that you got away. And yeah, so after her kind of reaching out, I thought it was time for me to kind of share my story, because honestly, one of my fears when I kind of got away was that I hope that he changes, and I hope that he basically, that this was maybe a one-off, or he may have learned from his mistakes, just give people the benefit of the doubt. But hearing another woman is reaching out to me, and she knows me because he showed her videos of our wedding, and then he kind of portrayed that I was this mentally ill person, that he was the sane, that I was the issue, and we just kind of went our separate ways when it wasn't really that. And she kind of had to endure similar abuse to me. So I think it was time for me to just, bring it out. And honestly, like, as Cat Williams said, like, last year in 2024, it's the year of the truth. So I think it's time for the truth to come out. And that was like, I think she reached out. I think it was sometime in October or November of 2024. So yeah, thank you guys for listening to my story. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you guys like, subscribe, share. I hope you guys can get this to 1,000 likes, and then maybe I'll upload the next video a little bit early for you lot, and it'll be a vlog, story time vlog slash, you know me. Anyways, tune in guys. Hope you guys enjoy.